I think it's working. There we go. It is indeed working. Who says that old guys can't do technology, right? Who needs Daniel, who's still serving an in-house suspension? We have, as always, down the river, our good friend and partner, Chip. And tonight, this afternoon, wherever it is, whenever it is, we have a very good friend joining us for the first time, Logan Graffia of pretty much everything. Logan, I was just looking at your header on Twitter, the sports reporter, no, the People's Sports Reporter. You are a writer with Sports Étouffée. My favorite moniker for you is the Slidell Mel Kiper. And then you're also a production assistant with LA First News. So certainly thank you for taking the time to join the Go Team. Chip and I representing today. And again, just thanks for jumping in. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing good. First of all, thank you guys for having me, and I am absolutely happy that I'm able to fit you guys into my busy schedule. It's been hectic lately, but I'm happy that we finally got it done.
No, absolutely. Chip, how's everything with you today?
I can't complain. Good Saturday.
Nice little round of golf this morning.
I wouldn't say nice, but I got through it.
Logan, do you do golf?
I do not. I don't golf at all. I've never picked up a golf club. I would probably be horrible at it. The only thing I've ever done is hit people and make quarterbacks' lives live in hell.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no, me neither. I don't play golf. Daniel and Chip are into it. Just never appealed to me or anything like that. Okay, so before we dive into everything, Logan, tell us a little bit about yourself, where people can find you on social media. I know you have a YouTube page as well. It's LGTV, correct?
So I haven't been able to do none of my YouTube videos for quite some time now. It's been a while because of the hectic schedule. I just kind of put that on hiatus for right now. Whenever I'm going to get back to that, but you can find me on social media. You can search my name as you see it on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at the Soulman57 as you see it in parentheses. And I do my own website. From time to time, I pop an article out there. It's all me. It's no one else. I do it. It's called Sports Étouffée. I've been doing that for a few years now. Kind of my own thing on the side, like just to keep me sane in my writing while I'm working. And gives me some like kind of a release, kind of.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely. Very cool. All right, so then let's talk about just the Slidell Mel Kiper, because you have the draft guide out right now. Is it free? Okay.
Yeah, I always no one ever has to pay for my stuff, and because I'm no one famous. No matter how many people know who I am, I'm not famous. I'm not a celebrity, so it's free off of my website. All you gotta do is click the link, and the more people that click is the better for me.
Right. No, absolutely. Okay, so where'd the love for football and like the intense love, because that's a labor of love, putting together that kind of article and publication.
So the love for football kind of started when I was a little kid. Now, I didn't play football right away when I was a kid because I was always the little one in the neighborhood. So it all started, like, I can remember watching Saints games in my dad's lap when I was like 3 years old. Right. And my first recollection of football was 1999. I was born in 96. I remember 1999 Halloween night watching, I think, Monday Night Football, Saints-Browns, and the Browns winning on a Hail Mary. And all you see is Mike Dick face planet on the Superdome turf because he can't believe it. Tim Couch to Kevin Johnson. Right. Yeah, Tim Couch to Kevin Johnson in the back of the end zone. And to this day, I still can't believe that happened. But just all started just watching the Saints games with my dad, and then just growing up loving sports. I mean, I loved Michael Jordan. My favorite movie growing up was Space Jam. I still have the VHS tape from when I was a kid, for God's sake. But after that, it just progressively grew. And then once I started playing football when I was 11, and that's where it took off. Like, it was the air like that I breathed, and that's when I started really getting into like the scientific, like nerdy stuff into it, like the whole NFL draft. I loved every bit of it.
Right.
And I honestly, not only because of Mel Kiper, but I started making these draft guides because of Mike Detillier. I'm sure everyone here knows who Mike Detillier is.
Of course.
He was always making draft guides. Now, I never could afford or ask my parents to buy me one, but I always knew he made one. And once I got older and was able to see how he put his together, and once I was able to find an outlet to kind of do it, that's when I started making them more detailed each and every year. Like this year, I would have to say this is probably my most detailed yet. So, yeah, that's kind of where it came from. And I call myself the Slido Mel Kiper because Mel Kiper doesn't get everything right. Neither do I. So, none of those draft guys are perfect. So I figured I call myself Slido Mel Kiper because I'm sure people would agree that I don't never get everything right. So Mel Kiper seems like a good fit for me.
Right. Well, it's impossible almost to get, to nail every
exactly
every because you just don't know their internal thinking sometimes. I mean, like for heaven's sakes, when the Saints traded up to get Marcus Davenport, giving away another, God forbid they did that the year before and gone up and gotten Patrick Mahomes, or God forbid they grabbed Lamar Jackson instead of Marcus Davenport. But look, he was phenomenal. He was a very good athlete. He was just injury prone, and then it just derailed the whole career. Is he still on a 1-year deal somewhere? He was with the Vikings, right? But injured.
I think he might be. I'm not entirely sure. I thought he was with the Lions just recently, but that I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Chip, any idea off the top of your head?
I knew he was with the Lions. That's just still where he's parked at.
But it's still, but he hasn't popped somewhere. Like he hasn't signed, and had an 8 or a 9.
No.
Sack season or anything like that. Look, I'm not bashing the guy, but did he play 10 games in a season since he's left the Saints? I don't even know about that. So whatever. But I mean, we've talked about the whole Ricky Williams draft and trading away everything to get Ricky Williams, and then it would have been Logan 96, right, Chip? We talked about Jim Moore and Jim Fink draft and Alex Molden, the defensive cornerback out of Oregon, and then Houston or Tennessee, whatever they were at the time, immediately at number 11 drafted Eddie George, Heisman Trophy winner, right? And then Jim Moore was the Saints head coach. Some guy by the name of Jim Moore Jr. was the defensive backs coach. So like, let me protect my son and get him a shiny toy to be good with, and like literally. You wouldn't need Ricky Williams and to trade away the entire draft if you had drafted Eddie George, the Heisman Trophy winner, instead of Alex Molden.
Yeah, and actually, Alante Taylor actually broke Alex Molden's record this past season for most sacks by a defensive back in Saints history. So,
but I mean, $20 million for Alante Taylor. That's a big number.
I wasn't doing that number at all. So seeing him walk, I wasn't that upset about it because we have the draft. We got Kool-Aid. We got Quincy. I mean, I really think Quincy's going to fill that role, and I think you're going to see the Saints draft a cornerback, whoever that may be, in this upcoming draft. Don't personally know. I mean, they can go in a number of directions, and I won't be upset. The only thing that will upset me that the Saints can do in this draft is draft an offensive lineman first round. Other than that, they could draft whoever they want at pick 8, and I'll be happy.
Right. What if they go ahead, Chip? I'm sorry, brother.
This would be the take that everyone has. Still draft a no lineman, please.
Right. Well, what about that offense? I mean, I know at 8 it's way too high, but that offensive guard out of Penn State, whose name I will never be able to pronounce, he would be okay. But you can't draft a tackle and try to move him to guard, or draft an offensive tackle and try to move Taliesin over to guard, not at number 8.
No, I'm not drafting a tackle, guard, center, no offensive lineman at pick 8, especially when you have to build around your young franchise quarterback who ended the season on a high note. You finally have your quarterback for the first time in 5 years, so it's time to build around him, get him some weapons, or get someone in the trenches on defense to make the defensive the secondary's life easier.
Right. Right, Chip, where are you going at number 8?
I mean, I like Caleb Downs, obviously. I mean, that's who I would go with, of it. I mean, he's probably not going to be there, though, right?
I don't
There's
know.
my prediction from the very beginning, he's going to go to the Giants at 5 because all I hear out of the Giants camp is John Harbaugh wants him another Kyle Hamilton, and Caleb Downs fits that so much. And I've heard that John Harbaugh is absolutely head over heels in love with Caleb Downs right now. So if the Giants pass on him, it would probably have to be that someone else on their board made it past number 4, whether that be Jeremiah Love or Reese or whoever. That would be the only way I would see Caleb Downs fall.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's who. I mean, obviously, that's like my wish, but I mean, I know it's gonna be hard to get to him. But like I said, I'll take any DB. You ain't gonna make it. It's gonna be hard to make a wrong choice at that point, right?
But Logan, the Saints are so good at evaluating and drafting defensive backs, and so bad at evaluating and drafting defensive ends. I mean, Foskey and Peyton Turner, and we talked about Davenport. Like, it's just funny that not funny, it's terrible, but that they're so good at finding. I mean, Kool-Aid fell into the second round; he wasn't supposed to be there, but then they got Quincy in the third round this year. They're very good at identifying what they need at defensive back, but it seems like not at defensive end.
So this year, I would say it's kind of different. There's a new regime in town, and the one thing I can say makes me very confident that no matter what defensive lineman they draft, they're going to get developed really well is because of the defensive line coach that the Saints have in Bo Davis. You look at Bo Davis's resume. I mean, when he was at LSU, Texas, anywhere he's been, their line has been the best in the country. And last season, you kind of seen an improvement on the defensive line when Bo Davis got there. Cam Jordan was like resurrected himself basically in 1 year under him, and he basically. We heard Cam Jordan even at press conferences basically say, "Hey, did you know I wasn't a nose tackle?" Kind of like as a shot at the old defensive line coach Todd Grantham. So if you whatever defensive lineman they draft, whether that's in the first round, second round, third round, whatever, I'm confident that they're going to be a stud because Bo Davis is going to have his hands on them. Because I truly believe that Bo Davis is probably one of the top 5 defensive line coaches in the NFL now. I mean, I was sad to see him leave LSU, but when I heard he was going to the Saints, I'm like, I was over the moon. So, yeah, I know in the past they have not been great at drafting linemen, but they didn't have Bo Davis as the defensive line coach in those years. Right. Who's to say it couldn't have been different if he was the coach?
I mean, Bo Davis was definitely the best college D-line coach, I would say, out there, and I would say definitely top 3 in the NFL. Maybe you could argue him being the best. I know he hasn't been there long enough yet, but I mean, you could see a total improvement. It was night and day, correct?
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. All right, so do you have concerns about Bain's 29, 27-inch long arms?
No, zero. I've said it multiple times on Twitter. I've said I don't care how short his arms are because if you go look, there's actually a defensive end in Detroit right now who I'm pretty sure made multiple Pro Bowls and was up for. He probably could have won MVP if he didn't get hurt a couple of years ago. And his name's Aiden Hutchinson. He was the number 1 overall pick just a few years ago. They said he has short arms. They didn't seem to bother him any. I mean, when you look at the film, doesn't lie. All these measurables and stuff, sometimes they lie. Height, short arms, whatever, doesn't matter to me. It's what matters. What matters to me is what's on film, and his film is immaculate. I've seen him destroy these big behemoths of the offensive tackles and guards, and you've seen what the U did. The whole U defensive line, they were undersized. They're in the ACC. The ACC made it to the national championship I would have to say Miami made it to the national championship on the backs of their defense. Now, don't get me wrong, Carson Beck did well, and they had Tony and all these other guys, but mainly it was their defense that kept them in these games, and Ruben Bain was the highlight of that defense. He wreaked havoc on everybody. They had to double him, I'm pretty sure, in the Indiana matchup because they couldn't block him. So if the Saints were so lucky to take Bain at 8, I would be over the moon. I'd say he's probably a 10-year-plus guy on the right team, and I think the Saints could be that team.
Isn't it amazing? I'm sorry, Chip.
I would like that. I think the comparison of Hutchinson too is like spot on.
Yeah. But Logan, isn't it amazing the buy-in that this team had? Well, I mean, the team from last year, and then as it's transforming and being assembled for this year, the buy-in, even as they struggled with, and look, Spencer Rattler played infinitely better his second season than he did his rookie year under Kellen Moore. But the buy-in for the defense and the offense that this team kept playing all the way through to the end for Kellen Moore and Staley, the defensive coordinator. So I mean, it's impressive. But like you said, it's also a new regime. DeMario's not here anymore. It doesn't look like Cam Jordan's got a contract that he's happy to accept. I mean, it may be that he does come back, but doesn't really look at it. And then there's all the uncertainty, like, will he stay? Will he go? Do we want him to stay? Do we want Alvin Kamara to go? So, like, there's a lot of purging of veteran leadership that just saw like New Orleans guys, like not Junior Colette's, cancers from back in the day, but like the best of the best as far as representing the organization and on and off the field. But it seems like they're turning over a new leaf from top to bottom.
Yes, and honestly, it's been kind of long overdue. Not to say that I don't love Cam Jordan and Demario Davis, but it's been kind of 5 years long overdue because we've seen the Saints kind of just take on all these old veterans who are 34, 35, kind of maybe a little bit past their prime. Not to say DeMario and Cam are past their prime. They played really well. Right. But you see it all around the league. The youth movement is happening for all 32 teams. And you've seen it with Seattle. Seattle built that team and with Mike McDonald in probably a 2-year, 3-year span through the draft, free agency, and getting Clint Kubiak, I guess, worked, and Sam Darnold finally hitting on everything. Now with the Saints, you see it with them, a younger head coach, younger staff members. I mean, Brandon Staley's still barely 40. So, and you're mixing in all the young kind of with the relatively newly 30-year-olds out there. I mean, Caden Ellis, he's like 30, 31 right now, who they're basically getting back from the Falcons. Mm-hmm. You have Danny Stutzman. All these younger guys, I think, are going to be your foundation going forward. And I hate to say it, but it was long overdue.
Right. No, well, again, fan favorites and the ties back to, the golden era of Sean Payton and Drew Brees and, it shouldn't have been Dennis Allen. But the division was so weak, so they kept looking at it. It's like, one or two things here and, we could win this. And even when they were struggling under Dennis Allen, they still weren't like bombing and like so far back off the division lead. There was a game here, a game there throughout the season that, one or two different, 3 or 4 different plays. And I know everybody can say that, but like they had a shot. They just didn't have the right weapons to get there to claim.
Well, coaching matters.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, look. I mean, when Dennis Allen apologized to the Falcons head coach, like, oh my God, do you not know? Have you not been in New Orleans for more than 2 days? Did you not just fly in to head coach this one game against Atlanta? Like, you never apologize to Atlanta. Like, look, yell and scream and fine the Saints that went behind your back to give Williams that touchdown opportunity, but do not apologize. I mean, I was like, I'm done. You cannot apologize to Atlanta of all people.
That was just pathetic and sad, and I'm glad he's not here anymore.
Right.
So, and the balance of a Chips point, coaching does matter, and I think Kellen Moore is going to be a great coach. And one example I can mention, my dad's always told me this story about how, of an example of why coaching matters. You look at Tulane back in 1998. Before Tommy Bowden got there, they wasn't really that great. Tommy Bowden gets there, they have the greatest season ever. Sure. Then the very next year he leaves, and with the same personnel, and they don't win at all. Right. So you have to find the right general, because there's a lot of great generals out there. They're not plentiful, but you have to find the right one, because a lieutenant can't lead a team. A general has to. So I'm hoping Kellen Moore is one of those generals, and right now he's kind of on the verge. I think we're on the verge of something here.
Well, you could just tell locker room wise, it's just a different.
It's night and day.
Yeah, it's like at LSU right now. It's the same,
Right.
very same culture that's being built right now, and you can tell it's being built from the ground up. Then at some point, it's ran its course, right? Like, yeah, it sucked to lose Sean Payton, but we got to move on from it, and you can never let the successor or the head guy pick a successor after, and that's what happened, and that always comes back to bite you in the ass.
Right. Dipping into college a little bit, not to take random shots at Tulane, but I just feel like their selection of the head coach off of the staff, it just felt like a Dennis Allen type promotion, and let's hope that the continuity that you spoke to earlier, Logan, follows through. But I don't know. I'm not pulling against them, but I don't know.
I mean, I've only seen continuity work doing my research over the 29 years of my life. It's only probably worked out once. That's when Bill Walsh left and George Seifert took over, but not everyone has the Joe Montanas, Jerry Rices, Roger Craigs, or even Deion Sanders on your team.
Right.
But, I mean, also George Seifert was an incredible coach as much as Bill Walsh was, so it's only worked maybe like a handful of times, probably I could count on one hand. So when they picked Dennis Allen, I knew it was going to be a failure from the beginning. Everyone told me I was crazy, but I'm excited for the Kellen Moore era going forward. Right. I think it's going to be exciting.
I agree 100%.
But I mean, look at Shuck's development. I mean, even Spencer Rattler's development from his first year to the second. But the Shuck's development, when he got the shot to close out the season, and like who he was throwing to, in the last game of the season, but still, like I'm sure you listened to, I follow Nick Underhill and Mike Triplett over at NewOrleansFootball.net. Nick Underhill was on the Shuck train pretty early. Like he's legit. Like this guy is elevating players around him, but then I would not have thought 2/3 of the way through the season, Logan, that Chris Olave was having the type of year that he was having, because it just seemed like he always dropped something that he shouldn't have dropped. Like that wide receiver number 1 would not have dropped that. If you took a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 label off of him, it's phenomenal. And then this is what mind-boggling. Chip and Daniel and I have talked about this. Drew Brees never had 100 reception, 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown receiver, but for that blood clot that Chris Olave had to miss him, to knock him out that last game of the season, he was 1 touchdown away from that. So I mean, Drew Brees, all the 5,000 yards, seasons that he put up, he never had 100 or a wide receiver, 100 receptions, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. But Chris Olave almost did that last year with Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck, and then Juwan Johnson turned it around. It seemed like once Shuck got there. And again, I'm not throwing any shade or disrespect to Spencer Rattler in the least, but it seemed like he did elevate everybody's game around him.
Right. It just seemed like once Shuck got in there, he was playing with a winner's mentality, and it just seemed like when Rattler was in there, he was playing not to lose his job, and he ultimately did. He was playing too safe. Shuck was just going out there playing ball and not caring if he threw an interception or made a mistake, and that's what you want out of your quarterback. Now, if he throws 3 interceptions, you got to live with it. Everyone has bad games.
Sure.
But, you've seen it night and day. When Tyler Shuck got in there, the Saints started rolling and winning, and it's the one game that I go back to is the first Carolina game. All the throws that Shuck was making, that 3rd and 17 where he just threaded the needle and made a first down. I can't remember who he threw it to.
Right.
To get it across the middle. Like, I don't know how he did it, but then all those 2 touchdowns on J.C. Horn's head, the Chris Olave actually.
Right.
Like, dropping it right in the bucket, as they say. It was night and day. Like, you never saw that with Rattler. He was just playing dink and dunk, kind of like you've seen how Andy Dalton used to do it, or even with Derek Carr. Don't get me wrong, I wanted Rattler to work out, but I ultimately knew that he was not the guy. So thank God that we have Tyler Shuck, because if we didn't, we probably would have not been 6-11. We probably would have been picking number 1 with the Raiders right now.
But do you like Mendoza?
I do. I mean, I can't remember who I comped him to on my draft guide offhand, but I do like Mendoza. I think he's going to be really well. Now, granted, I don't know how well he's going to do with the Raiders. Maybe Clint Kubiak can do some magic,
right?
Because I do like Clint Kubiak as I don't have Mendoza. Oh my God, that's right. Mendoza's a special talent. Now, I liked him when he was at Cal Berkeley, but if you would have told me that the Indiana Hoosiers football team was going to be this good with a quarterback winning the Heisman and going number 1 overall, I would have told you were crazy, because Indiana's known for basketball. Right. So I do like Mendoza. I love Kirk Cinetti as a coach, incredible coach, coming from the Saban tree. So a lot of his players do well in the NFL. I mean, coming from James Madison, too. There's a few James Madison Dukes out there in the NFL that played under Cignetti. So I have confidence that if Clint Kubiak can do what he wants to do, he wanted Spencer Rattler to Clint Kubiak, but maybe they'll work out better with Mendoza with the Raiders.
Right.
Yeah, I think I remember watching him because Cal would play in those late night games. And I was like, who's that quarterback? And then the next year, I'm like, who's Indiana got their quarterback? And like the second week, I'm like, that dude's killing. Oh, it's the guy from Cal.
Right. It's just such an odd fit to me. You know, like an older guy thinking of, when Howie Long was with the Raiders and all the crazy cast of characters there. You know, Mendoza and this is my description, squeaky clean image that he has going number 1 overall to the Raiders. It just seems like an odd pairing, but we'll see how it plays out. All right, so Logan, putting you on the spot. Number 8 overall. We're not trading up. We're not trading down. You think Love's there or he's gone? Downs is probably going to the Giants. Bailey's going to be gone. Talk about like how the board falls to the Saints at number 8 and who you're selecting at number 8, and then I want to tie it into the wide receivers.
Okay, so it's going to be a great tie-in because I think the board's going to fall. I think Jeremiah Love is probably going forward to the Titans. Just all the dots are kind of being connected right there. Downs is going to go number 5 to the Giants, and it all depends on who Washington drafts. They can go Sonny Styles. They can go wide receiver Carnell Tate. But I think the board's going to fall where Reuben Bain's going to be available and Jordan Tyson's going to be available. And you're going to have to pick what do you want right here in round 1 at pick 8. Do you want Reuben Bain to help solidify your defensive line and be opposite Chase Young for the next 5-10 years? Or do you finally get that guy in Jordan Tyson who could be the next Amari Cooper and be your number 2 wide receiver next to Chris Olave, which you've been looking for years? So if you go Bain, it means you have to go Chris Bell round 2. So if I had to go on the spot, it's a toss-up. I'm going to go with what I've had for the last 2 weeks and say Reuben Bain's going to be the pick at 8.
Okay. Do you go and get Bell because he played with your quarterback? Do you go for that chemistry, and do you go for making your quarterback of the future, your QB1, happy by drafting Bell instead of a different wide receiver at 42?
I think it's a little bit of both. Well, one, we're not really having this conversation if Chris Bell doesn't tear his ACL in November, because before that, he was slated to be a top 15 pick. So essentially, at 42, you draft Chris Bell, you're getting another first-round pick, because you look at the film. When he was with Shuck, he had his best year yet, and they have the chemistry. I'm not comparing him to Joe or Jamar Chase or anything. Please, people watching at home, just actually hear me, because I've said it before and I've gotten the pitchforks and torches before. But You seen Joe wanted Jamar because that was his guy. We seen the chemistry. They have the chemistry. A lot of people don't get it. Chemistry matters in football. Tyler Shuck's been apparently telling the higher ups, I want my guy Chris Bell. Do whatever you can to get him. Now, whether Kellen Moore says, "Oh, sure, I'll get him," and not get him, that's to be determined. So, you get Chris Bell. He already has chemistry with your starting quarterback.
Right.
They don't need no warm up, no nothing. And plus, Chris Bell's going to be ready for training camp. I know a lot of people don't think he's going to be ready, but Ross Jackson's reported it. Nick Underhill's reported it. He's going to be. Even Chris Bell said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be ready for training camp."
Right.
So you draft Chris Bell at 42. You're getting another first round pick, and you're getting a receiver that's over 6 feet tall, who basically has the same measurable and skill set as AJ Brown, who Kellen Moore won the Super Bowl with just a couple years ago.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing what they've done with ACL injuries. I do think, by the way, I mean that's been about pretty standard at this point in time. So.
Mm-hmm.
But Logan, that's such an excellent point to frame it that way. You're getting another first round talent with Chris Bell, even if you have to go up from 42 to grab him, because it would have been a no brainer that he would have been in the top 15. Either wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 in that conversation had he not had that ACL injury. So, all right, are you bringing back Alvin Kamara?
I'm waiting to see what happens with Kamara. I'm letting him do what he wants to do right now. If I'm the Saints, which is what they're doing, if he wants to retire, go sip your Mai Tai in Cancun or whatever you said you was gonna go do. I can't remember what the exact tweet was.
It was a pina colada.
Pina colada. Whatever. I think it was a pina colada. Whatever it was, go kick, go retire. I mean, the average lifespan of a running back in the NFL is 31, and he's 31. Not everyone can play until they're 45, like Tom Brady, or when Adrian Peterson retired at like 35 as a running back. Not everyone can do that, and Kamara the last couple of years has been kind of banged up, and that's because the Saints haven't had another running back to help him. So now you have Travis Etienne. Maybe he gives it one more year. He's still under contract, so he kind of has to come back if he's not retiring. So I give it one more year with Kamara if he wants to come back. If not, and he retires, then you can go out and draft a running back in the middle rounds because there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
All right, so which brings us essentially to the third round. So Logan's dream scenario draft, as we're calling it. Bain in the first round, Bell in the second, and now we're sitting at, 72, 73?
Something like that.
Yeah,
it's something that
42 and 73, I think.
Yes.
But anyway, all right.
So dream scenario, if it's Bain and Bell, it would either have to be, depending on how it falls. A lot of people are kind of sleeping on this guy. I would go either Kyle Lewis, the linebacker from Pitt, or I would go Mike Washington Jr., the running back from Arkansas.
I like Mike Washington.
You can't go wrong with either because you already have your linebackers. You have Danny Stutzman and Caden Ellis. Those are your outsides, and if you want to put Pete Warner on that list as your inside, great. You could put Kyle Lewis next to him. Or you're going to have Pete Warner's going to be on the outside with Ellis. You need someone to go on the inside with Danny Stutzman, and Kyle Lewis can be that guy. Now, if you don't go the linebacker route and you go Mike Washington, essentially you have Latavius Murray back because that's what I have his comp as on my draft guide is Latavius Murray. So, and Mike Washington is a stud. He could be better than Latavius Murray was. Don't know, but you can go either way, and I wouldn't be upset. So I guess if I had to lock it in, I would have to say dream scenario would have to be Kyle Lewis, linebacker from Pitt.
Okay.
Who stands out? When you're watching a Pitt game, that's the guy who you're like, oh, okay, that guy's good.
The Saints are they're so intriguing because they're like right on the cusp, right? Like they have so many holes. So like you're saying, you can't go wrong if you go offense in the first round and then you go defense in the second or vice versa. And then here we're talking about either a linebacker or a running back. They need the depth. They need the young guys. They just don't have it on this roster. But yet they're so close to being there. So like one more really good draft like they had last year, and if they hit on 4 or 5, if they had 3 starters or 2 really good starters and 3 contributors out of this draft like they did last year, like it's fantastic. So they almost can't go wrong with these first 3 picks right there. I mean, I wish they had more picks in the top 100. I would love to trade down at some point and pick up more picks in the top 100 just because they need the depth and the youth across it. But unless they go an offensive tackle, they should be really poised to do something well with this. So knock on wood. So then the draft plays out, Logan, and then we're in free agency. Your heart or your gut or your brain, is Cam coming back? Cam Jordan?
If I had to make a prediction, I think he comes back. They try to get a deal done. If I had to make a prediction, I think he comes back by the time training camp or mini camp falls around. Because if he's still not signed by mini camp or training camp, then I don't know what the heck's going on. Then that would just be on Cam at that point for wanting too much money as a 37-year-old defensive end. Because I love Cam. He's a Hall of Famer, but he's not Reggie White.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, different time, too. Way different time. You don't see 38-year-olds still play in the NFL like that, I'd love for him to come back. That'd be great.
I would love to. Yeah.
Just in the locker room guy would be phenomenal. And he will play well. He'll be a great member of the defense, obviously. I think it'd be phenomenal. I think you're setting up for a playoff team if that happens. I mean, not just because of skill. I just think that leadership is so important.
Well, especially if you're losing Kamara and you've lost Demario Davis to the Jets. That's the 3 of them off of the team. That's a big void. With this is the standard. This is how we conduct ourselves. This is how we do it. On and off the field. But
I think they both stay. They want to end it on a good note. I think they both stay. They're saying
that'd be cool. But I mean. And I'm not pulling one way or the other. It's not like, no, he's got to go back. He's got to come back. He's got to go. It's just, it seems like Kellen Moore knows what he's doing.
Sure.
And that just, again, Logan, just that this team kept playing for him and that DeMario had the season that he did and Cam and then Shuck finished the way that he did. But I want to bring it back to the defensive coordinator, Staley. And we're talking about the Giants being in love with Caleb Downs at number 5. But there's so many guys that I've heard talking about, well, that's a Staley guy, that Staley knows how to use this player in this role in his system. But he's still a young guy who previously was a head coach and could be a head coach again. Is there any concern about drafting a defensive player to fit that current defensive coordinator system, and then that 2 years from now that defensive coordinator is not here, and then it's kind of sort of like the Grantham situation with Cam Jordan, and they just didn't mesh, and he wasn't getting the best out of Cam Jordan.
So I'm not too worried because football these days is a lot different than it was when I was playing just even 5 years ago. And defenses are so multiple centric. I mean, yes, base 3-4, but if you look, it's not really a traditional 3-4 like you seen back in the day, or even as far back as like 10 years ago with the Broncos team that went to the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning with Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. It's not a traditional 3-4 anymore. So everything's more nickel-based these days because everyone's trying to keep up with the speed of these offenses. So if Staley, I don't know if he gets another head coaching job just based off the fact that it didn't work out that great the first time. Mm-hmm. Going off of my original point of some people are great lieutenants and not generals, and I think Staley's a better lieutenant than he was a general. And we are seeing that when he was a lieutenant on the Rams, even though he had the 3rd greatest defensive player of all time in Aaron Donald, but we've seen how great he was as a DC there and how great he was here. So I'm not that worried about Staley potentially leaving or getting a Staley guy because football, all these guys have grown up playing football. They played so many different positions, playbooks, schemes, whatever. Some of these guys are 5-year guys in college. Well, if you're lucky. Like, hypothetically, I've heard so many people saying, yo, Bain's a 4-3 guy. He ain't going to fit Staley's system. He's not a 3-4 guy. Really? Okay. Yeah, not like he's not going to have mini camp, training camp, or practice to get acclimated to the new system. I mean, they are football players. I mean, I know I played in so many different systems when I played. I had to learn playbooks almost every dang year. So I'm not worried about getting a Staley guy. Just get the best that you can get.
Right. Okay. Have you checked out Teron Armstead's podcast? He's got a lot of guys on there. He's really good, and he had Cesar Ruiz on there. I said Luis. Sorry, guy. But who was like, I've heard the chatter. I'm motivated to shut the chatter up. David Edwards at left guard, phenomenal, and a phenomenal signing coming out of Buffalo. But are you looking for offensive guard in the draft for depth? Are you looking for it in free agency? Are you going to roll with Caesar at your right guard?
Me personally, before I seen the pod, I would have to see Caesar put his money where his mouth is, but I'd love to draft the guard if possible in the later rounds. It doesn't have to be 3 or 4. Maybe you get one of those 5th round gems or 6th round gems at guard, and they turn into like a Carl Nix or a Jamon Bushrod, whatever. I mean, heck, Jari Evans came out of a very small school, I believe, and so. If Caesar's going to be working with Teron, that kind of gives me a little bit of hope. Because, okay, he's seeing the chatter. Because we all have said it publicly on Twitter that Cesar Ruiz is garbage. We've not even been around the bush. We've point blank said, get Cesar Ruiz's tail off of our team. He is trash. We've put him through the ringer. I'm glad he sees it.
Right.
Now go put in the work and actually see if you can get better. Because it's not going to be hard to draft your replacement. He had one good season just a couple of years ago, which was surprising. Ever since then, he got paid, and then it's been a fall off ever since. So, if the Saints drafted a right guard in like the 6th round, I wouldn't be too upset about it. But if Ruiz is going to be working with Teron Armstead, as is Kelvin Banks, and I believe Fuaga is too, I'm willing to see how it's going to look with this year with Ruiz.
Right. Right. That'll be good. All right. So then, Logan, who's your favorite? I mean, I mentioned David Evans. Who's your favorite offseason free agent addition to the Saints so far?
Travis Achan has got to be my favorite. Outside of David Edwards, Travis Achan, because I can remember talking to one of my friends who used to play at Louisiana Tech. Me and him became good friends. I remember talking to him in December, like right around Christmas time. I said, man, how great would it be if the Saints could sign Travis Achan and draft Jeremiah Love? How great would that dynamic duo be? I texted him that in December. And sure enough, we signed Travis Achan in free agency. I couldn't believe. I'm thinking that's not going to happen. And then sure enough, we do. Now, the whole Jeremiah Love thing, that's probably not happening, but 1 out of 2 ain't too bad. So I'm very excited to have Travis Achan here, multiple 1,000-yard seasons. You can use him at running back. You can even throw him out there at slot. Use him like you used to use Sproles back in 2011 if you wanted to. But I think Travis Achan is going to be great for us. So far, it's been my favorite.
Right.
He's also very good at picking up block. He could be used as he could play all downs, So it's not just he's not just a third down back like they kind of thought he was going to be coming out at Clemson, but he's awesome.
Logan, with all the talk about wide receiver in this draft, whether it's Tyson, whether it's Bell, whether it's a couple of them, somebody in the 2nd round, maybe again. What Ted Hurst is always thrown in connection with the Saints, the wide receiver out of Georgia Tech. Speak to the depth, if you think the Saints have any depth in the wide receiver room with Vele, Trey Palmer, Polk. I mean, a lot of potential there, but a lot of injuries associated with those players as well.
So I know not a lot of people are high on Jalen Polk or even Trey Palmer, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my goodness, we don't need to draft anybody. We got Trey Palmer, we got Jalen Polk. No. I think Jalen Polk can be a solid 3rd wide receiver. Now, granted, I know we got Vele. Everyone say, oh, we got Vele. Okay. Jalen Polk was a second-round pick for a reason coming out of Washington. And a lot of those guys that he played with, Romeo Duse, he's killing it with Chicago right now. Now, Michael Penix's old quarterback ain't killing it, but, you know. But Jalen Polk was a very talented wide receiver, and he was playing on playing for a trash New England team that didn't have an identity under Gerard Mayo. I mean, Drake May looked horrible in his rookie year under Gerard Mayo because I don't even know who the heck their offensive coordinator was. It might have been Josh McDaniels. I'm not entirely sure, but nobody would have played well in those circumstances. Now, granted, he got hurt, but I think Jalen Polk was a solid pickup, and I think he's going to be your third wide receiver because I think you're going to be drafting your number 2 wide receiver. And as for Trey Palmer, he's going to be your speedy guy. He might be your kick returner or punt returner. I mean, you go back to the LSU days before he transferred to Nebraska. He was your kick returner, punt returner for LSU. You couldn't catch the guy. So the fact that you have 2 high potential guys kind of excites me. Now, as for Vela, he is your guy you put in packages where you need a big body out there. Mm-hmm. He is still relatively young. He's not in his 30s yet, but he was able to catch in traffic. He was coming on at the end of the season, which made me very happy. Kind of made it worth, I guess, trading away that draft pick we did. So there is potential in this wide receiver room. You just have to go out and get more juice, as they say. You can draft 2 wide receivers in this draft. You could draft one in round 1 or 2, or draft your other wide receiver maybe like round 5 or 6. You could double up, and you have a kind of a good mix of talent and potential guys in that wide receiver room.
Right. Are you going tight end anywhere in the draft?
It depends on how the board falls and who is available. Now, if you get to the 3rd round and say Oscar Delp is there, then I would say I'm passing on Kyle Lewis or even Mike Washington, because Oscar Delp, they are saying, is like a Brock Bowers light. Now, he is not Brock Bowers, but he could do some of the same things Brock Bowers can do. And if you can't get Oscar Delp, then you got to go maybe Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt, who is kind of like a better version of Evan Ingram, or what Evan Ingram was supposed to be coming out of college. So if you're able to get any one of those guys, maybe in the 3rd round or even 4th round, if Delp falls to the 4th round, you run to the podium and go get him. So other than that, there are tight ends in this draft. And Joe Royer, I can't believe I forgot him. They just had a visit with him, the tight end from Cincinnati. There's a lot of good tight ends that they can get in this draft. It's kind of a deep little candy bag that they could choose from.
Right. There's one that we watched when LSU played Houston in the bowl game. Tanner Kozal.
Yep.
Now, I love playing the mock drafts. And for a while there, and this is a while ago, but like he was like right around 150, maybe a little bit higher, like when you're picking or whatever. But I'm not saying that he's fallen so much as there's others that have risen, and he's there available in the mock drafts a little bit later. So, but I mean, 6'7", big guy, had a pretty good career. He didn't start at Houston, right? Didn't he transfer over to Houston?
Yeah, he was at one of them. He was playing somewhere in the north.
I think he transferred into Houston, but he had a pretty decent game. He had a touchdown against LSU in that game. A depleted LSU roster, but still. So it'll be.
What's Stover slated at right now?
The Vandy.
Where's he?
So a lot of the mocks that I've seen, and even in the one that I just recently did a few weeks ago, a lot of mocks have him going in the 3rd round. Now, his stock rose a little bit after.
Chip, are you there?
I'm there.
Logan, I think you froze up. Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. What the heck? I still...
Yeah. So we're back on Stove being slated.
There you go. Logan, you alive?
Yeah, I'm here.
Something happened there. You're on your end, it froze up. It might have been our end as well. But you were talking about where you think Stover is going.
So
tight end of Vandy.
So a lot of the mocks that I've seen him go early third, early fourth, and then as late as early fourth round pick. His stock has kind of risen since the combine, and if he falls to the fourth, like I said, if it's not Stowers or Delp, then I wouldn't really sprint to the podium for them in the fourth round. But if they fall to you, you kind of have to think about it.
For sure. He's done so much. He started at Texas A&M as quarterback. He's put his hand in the dirt at New Mexico State, playing H-back, running back, everything, wildcat quarterback, tight end, wide receiver. And then he went to Vanderbilt and just killed it in the SEC. So he's someone you should look at, I think. And if you get in that, especially if he's still there in that fourth round, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Logan, we're going to go local. Mansour Delane with LSU is going to be a top 10, top 12, certainly top 20 pick in the draft. Probably the first cornerback to come off the board. Who's the second LSU Tiger being drafted this year?
If I had to guess, it's going to take a while, but I would have to say probably Harold Perkins, and it might not be until maybe round 3, round 4.
Mm-hmm. Right. And where do you think Nussmeier is going to go?
I think he's going to go in that same kind of range, maybe after Perkins. I think someone like the Steelers are going to draft, like, Garrett Nussmeier in like the 4th round, if he makes it to the 4th round. I've heard they got people saying that he might have rose his stock all the way to the late 2nd round, which is crazy to say now. But other than that, if it's not the Steelers, I wouldn't mind seeing him go to the Rams.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Well, right, because it's such a thin class at quarterback. Like Ty Simpson, there's no way he's going in the 1st round, is he?
There's a chance. There's a little. I'm not going to use the word stupid, but I really want to. But there's a lot of crazy GMs out there that apparently are. Apparently, there's going to be one in Arizona or even potentially. For the Jets that are going to want to take a chance on Ty Simpson that I, for the love of God, would not. But I don't think he's a 1st-round pick. And I'm not even trying to get another fan base all up in an uproar about this. I truly believe it's only because of the colors and helmet that he wore in the school that he went to. Right. Because if you turn on the film, I don't see a 1st-round pick. I see a 3rd or 4th-round pick or a 4th-round pick.
Right.
It'll be amazing. Great for him. I didn't think that beginning of the season. So
it'll be interesting because it's really. But I mean, it was supposed to be, Arch Manning and Nussmeier and the kid from Penn State and the kid from South Carolina was all supposed to be in this class, and none of them really had the seasons that they were supposed to have had. But then again, next year is supposed to be the best crop of quarterbacks ever, if you listen to some people. There's something I was going to ask you, Logan, and now it slipped my mind. Well, I mean, we talked about all of the position groups pretty much on offense, the offensive line, and this, that, and the other, the LSU and who they think is going to get drafted from there. We were even talking ahead next year. The record for for LSU for having 1st-rounders is 5. And so for next year, we were like, okay, well, then Seaton, the quarterback, Levitt, Chip, who else did we have? Prince Will, the defensive edge. We came up with 5. I can't think of the 5th one, the other 2 right now off the top of my head, of course. But it's like, maybe if one of the wide receivers pops or somebody in the secondary pops. Well, Ty Benefield would be great. He's been having a phenomenal spring. So it'll be interesting to see how LSU's roster comes together and forms up as a team, and then how that portrays on the field, and if it translates into a record number of LSU Tigers being drafted in the 1st round next year. But I love, I'm sure even like this time of year, like hope springs eternal and the possibilities are endless, and you go through all these guys like you have, Logan, with your draft guide and putting together the data and the research. It's like, oh, this guy would be so good, man. And, oh, my God, this guy would be so good. And, in my previous life, I lived on Long Island, right? And Long Island, New York is not a college football universe. Like they just don't give a shit about college football, but they love the Giants and they love the Jets. And I would fight with my friends and my coworkers, and I'm like, where do you think these guys come from? You know, like you watch it. I'd have people would say, man, that guy, like, you know, that's playing on Sundays. Didn't you mention that guy a couple of years ago? And I'm like, yeah, he was phenomenal wherever he was in college. You know, whatever, use whatever example of NFL player, you know, great college player that got drafted, you know, and is doing very well in the NFL. I'm like, yeah, like they play in this league called college football. Like you can see him on Saturdays if you ever turn on your TV. So it's a different world up there with all of that. But anything else, Logan, that we missed on with the Saints in the draft? Because, I mean, like I said, I just love this time of year. It's like hope springs eternal. I am actually, we were talking about it, Chip. I am essentially Logan's parents' age. And Logan, I am 6 months older than the New Orleans Saints, right? So I was born in April of 66. The Saints, of course, November of 66. For whatever reason, I continuously drink the Kool-Aid every off season. I just don't have it in me not to take a sip and to drink it. And Chip's heard this story 1,000 times, but when my ex-wife and I separated, but she was actually living and working in London. My daughter was finishing up high school there, and this is a few years ago, Logan, and she called on a Sunday, and I was home alone watching the Saints game. Hey, Dad, what's going on? I said, oh, watching the Saints game. And she said, oh, well, I'll let you go. I know that you enjoy doing that. And I'm like, Mackenzie, I'm 50-something years old. I've never once said that I enjoy doing it. It's what I do on Sundays. It's what you grew up with. You know, Logan, I'm sure it's with the same thing with you and your family. You mentioned early on, you know, growing up and remembering watching the Saints with your dad, sitting in his lap, sitting on his knee, and doing all that. You know, my favorite thing in the world is Sunday dinner. The family's over, the Saints are on TV, and you know, like that's what we do down here, you know. So I always drink the Kool-Aid, and it seems like they have the quarterback. It seems like they have the head coach. I guess just the last thing let's touch base on is your thoughts on Mickey Loomis. He kind of sort of has done a reconfiguration. Like he's done some good things of late. You know, he had a good draft last year. The Fortner, the center, that was just a giveaway trade, just kind of off afterthought, but actually helped save some of the season with his performance stepping in for McCoy. You know, just where you think the Saints are under Mickey Loomis's 47 years of being the general manager.
So I think Mickey kind of had a good season last year. He kind of caught lightning in a bottle again with Kellen Moore because after the Dennis Allen fiasco, he was looking kind of like, okay, Sean made Mickey Loomis look great because before Sean got here, Mickey wasn't looking great. So also, credit to Mickey for kind of building a solid front office. You got Randy Mueller back, who used to be the GM when Mickey was under him. So now Randy is under him. Randy is under Mickey now. So he's got Jeff Ireland, Kai Harley. He's got a great scouting department now. Everything is just kind of moving upward again. I'm thinking he finally found a great recipe, and he's going to probably stick with it. And I think things are trending upward, and I can only be excited for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Chip, before we wrap it up, anything else out there?
No, man, this was awesome. Logan, wealth of knowledge on
draft. No, Logan, we really appreciate you taking time to jump in with us. I know there's a lot going on, the women's gymnastics today, softball, baseball, you know, like all kinds of stuff going on. But we certainly appreciate you jumping in and give us some Saint talk, draft talk, and everything. So, but before we say goodbye, tell us again, Logan, where everybody can find you. They can grab your draft guide and follow you on all the social media.
So you can find me on Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. You can find me on.
I knew I liked you.
You can find me on Twitter. You see it in parentheses at the Soulman57, or you can find me on Facebook. Just search my name. I'm on Instagram, but I don't post that much anymore. And you can find my draft guide. It's on a WordPress website. Just search Sports Étouffée. You should be able to find it. And I have it posted everywhere on Twitter, and even on my Sports Étouffée Twitter page. So I'm not hard to find.
Rex, excellent.
Heck yeah, man.
All right.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Logan, we really appreciate you coming on, taking the time. We'd love to have you on again, talk about it after the draft or during the season, anything. So
Absolutely.
really appreciate that. I hope to hit the right button here. We're going to do a little music on our way out. And we appreciate everybody stopping by. Well, listen, Logan, we really appreciate everything, man. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Let's see here, Chip. Now I might hit this button. Let's see what happens. Bam.